Alright guys, so welcome back to Gaming Today. A lot of you guys are very excited about the new split screen coming to Fortnite. Now it's already here, I know. I'm a bit behind on videos, quite a lot behind on videos. But that's not the point, that's not your problem. What I'm going to tell you in this video is everything you need to know about the PS4 and Xbox and how to get split screen going in it. But I'm also going to tell you the pros and the cons of split screen. Now there's some big pros and some big, very big cons. Now the big pros are, obviously you get to play with your friends and family on the same screen, same device. That could be quite cool, especially if you already have a lot of people trying to play at the same time. There's not enough TVs, not enough game systems, and you don't want to play on your phones. That could be a great way to do it. You know, obviously split screen, it would be a very good fix. The only big problem is basically the game runs at 30 frames per second, and it can't even do a butter smooth 30 frames per second. And that seems kind of like, oh, well, it's not a big deal. Well, it really is, guys, because you have to opt into cross-play to actually do that, which means you can be playing with PS4 players, Xbox players, and PC players potentially, and they all get at least bare minimum 60 frames per second. Now, of course, with the occasional dips down, you know, 45, 50 frames per second when something crazy happens in the game, but for the most part, they're getting 60 frames all day, every day. And guys, that's a very big deal. That means you have half the time to react to every other player in the game. So every firefight you get into, basically you have half the time to react to every shot they take. And sometimes you're going to get into situations where you shoot and they shoot you first, but you won't see it coming until you're already dead. And that's kind of a bit of a problem. The overall experience with Fortnite split screen on the PS4 Pro has been kind of wonky, to say the least. Not only is there glitches with the frame rate, I mean things that are just wonky and weird, which I'm going to show you through this video as well. Once I show you how to actually get this going, you'll see what I mean. It's a little wonky and a little weird, and the first time you set up split screen is also wonky and weird. You might actually have to turn off the game and restart the game to get it to work. Now, I'm not just saying this because it's happened to me already. So how do you get split screen working on Fortnite? Basically, you need another controller. Hold down the X button, you know, until basically this little bar goes around, and then you'll basically be prompted up into a link account screen. You'll need this code that's on screen, and make sure, and this is very important, there's a little number at the bottom saying expiring in certain time periods, usually 10 minutes, right? Well, make sure that count is actually ticking. If it's not, that means basically your password, or whatever you want to call it, has expired. Your current code has expired. And the best way to fix that is basically by backing out and trying again. If that doesn't work, basically restart your game. That's the only thing you can do to get that code going back up, and basically getting a new code so you can sign in and get your split screen working on your system. And this works the same way for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, or all the Xboxes. I don't know what to call them these days. You guys that are Xbox players, come on, get with the system now. PlayStation 4's where it's at. Anyway, so carrying on, you should basically see your party member or whoever you just added to the game. Now keep in mind you can only split screen with 2 people, which basically means you and a friend, or you and a family member, a sibling, can basically do this. Can't have like 4 people. This isn't no Mario Kart. I'm sorry, it's just not. And because I know there's a lot of people saying, where do you put this code out? Where do you go to do it? Well, basically the link right there at the very top says activate at basically epicgames.com. You know the drill. We've done this before with the 2FA video, and you guys basically had a hard time. But, you know, I helped you guys with that one, and I'm trying to help you again. But you can do this on your smartphone very easily. I recommend it, because it only took me a few moments to get this done on the smartphone, so I recommend it completely. Even if you've never played Fortnite before and just want to try it out, making an account at Epic Games is very easy. But funny enough, guys, you don't actually have to have an Epic Games account to play. You can play as a guest on the game, and that's kind of interesting too. So if you're not sure you're going to like the game and you don't want to make an account, you can always play as a guest as well. Just go and skip that step when you basically sign in, and you can just be as a guest. And guys, one weird thing is when the second player actually wants to go to their locker with the challenges or anything like that, the battle pass, item shop, all this, basically there's a white border around the screen, and it basically makes the screen slightly smaller. So it's a little weird, but it kind of lets you know that the second player is manipulating the screen and doing something. And you can see their loadout, their locker. Obviously the person I'm playing with doesn't have a lot of things. Now, don't judge, guys. I know you in the comments want to judge. Come on now, get with the program. Some people are noobs. But good news, guys. If second player is taking too long to basically make up his mind or what he wants to do, first player can take back at any time by just pressing X. It's that simple, and basically first player can choose what they do. So yeah, if you've got a younger sibling or something that's driving you nuts, just do that and get it out of the way. You don't have to take the control out of the hands, and then when mommy or daddy come by, you'll be like, I didn't take the control out of his hands, I just put the game on. And no one will know any different, because kids and parents don't have that level of communication. Now, anyways, carrying on. So, you know, 30 frames per second is a big problem, and honestly, like I've said, it can be game breaking. The amount of glitches and things I come across while filming for this video was quite a lot, and it was irritating to say the least, but it was still an overall fun experience. But there was one time, I can't remember when, but I had to do like a 360 shotgun shot, and I actually did get the kill on it, but I had to overestimate my shot because the lag between the 30 frames and 60 frame player is just overall annoying. It's crazy. easy. It's just a lot to deal with, and it's kind of like you have to get used to it. So your first couple games playing at split screen may not be as good as you used to because you are at a huge disadvantage. Just keep that in mind. So if you're a good player and you go into this, you probably will have a little bit of a setback early game, but you probably will get the hang of it down the line. Now, one thing I'm going to say is sniping at 30 frames per second is ass. It is totally garbage. I wouldn't even waste my time with it. I'm a great sniper, I really am, but I can't stand sniping at 30 frames per second. Now, when I'm on the Switch or something, it's not a big deal because most everyone else is running at 30 frames as well. But when you're sniping at 30 frames per second while everyone else is running at 60 frames per second, it's a huge disadvantage, and by the time you actually get down sight, your target's already moved and out of sight. So it's a bit of a problem. You actually have to aim down sight a lot longer before you can get those snipes. As for no scopes, it's even worse. That's even harder. I don't even think you could do it. Maybe you could if you're good enough, but it's a big challenge and it's not very easy, honestly. It's a big pain in the behind. Well, anyways, enough said with that. You know, the game isn't that bad, and if you want to play it with split screen, this is the only way you can play it with your friends. It's not like everyone has like 2 PS4s or 2 Xboxes in their house. You know, this is a way to do it, and it's better for some people, you know, obviously to have the option. Not everyone wants to be a mobile player. You know, playing on the mobile phone is okay and it's fun, and sometimes, you know, better because you might be able to play the game at 60 frames per second, but it's just not as good as having a physical controller. And don't get me started on those mobile controllers. Anyway, there you go. You see how I overlooked at that lag there? That 30 frame lag? I totally maneuvered that and still got my kills. So yeah, it's possible to do a good game. And, you know, to get a 7 kill game or more, no, not really. It's kind of hard. But I'm sure there's better players out there than I am, so yeah, you probably could do it, but I couldn't. But yeah, guys, that's basically Fortnite in a nutshell with the whole split screen thing. Hopefully I've answered all your questions and concerns. I'm giving you a little bit of a preview idea what you can expect. Now guys, I didn't get a game win or nothing like that in split screen. It's very difficult. I'm sure if I put enough time into it, we could have, but you know what? Hey, my partner's basically new at the game, and that's just what it is. So it was what it was, but I'm sure some of you guys out there are really good at the game and great at basically getting used to like 30 frames per second, can probably get some wins and probably have a great time. But for me, 60 frames is the only way I'm going to play Fortnite, and honestly, it's just too laggy for me. I couldn't get used to it. It's not my way of playing. Maybe once in a great while I will play the game like this, but not very regularly, for sure. Anyways, guys, hopefully you did enjoy the video, and if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you guys have any questions or concerns down below, let me know in the